Hey guys, I am Chaffin, and this,
I'm Celia. Welcome to Pop Robot TBI.
nice, welcome. So today we're talking about something we talk about a lot, going back to percentages. But I want to throw a little bit of a twist in it. Celia and I have been, oh, I know, a twist. Celia and I have been having some mega wonderful days. So I want to talk about how when we're in a higher percentage of what we're used to being in. So like for me, my average is 60% right now. So if I suddenly hop up to 62, 64%, most likely I'm going to have a little bit of a dip later on. And so I just would love to talk about kind of the mindset around that, being prepared for that. Celia, you can agree or disagree if you see this in your life or don't see this in your life. The floor is ours.
I would say I've been averaging 60% as well. I had a couple weekends ago where I felt really good. And well, let's just say better than I had ever felt before in 2.5 years. And so I went to test the limits and I did a few things. And it turns out like when you're in this happy headspace of, oh, I think I can do things. And then it's almost like the responsibility or like rational thinker, it kind of gets like, it's like part of you is like smothering it with a pillow and it's not allowed to speak. So you are being run by like this part of you that's like, I can do things. And anyhow, I did some things. And then I had a whole week of I couldn't do anything. I couldn't do the things. So and it seems to be a trend that I haven't figured out how to avoid when you test your limits and then you crash because you overdo it because you're just so excited that you're feeling like you're normal-ish. But the good news is that I don't know if this is true. Seems like it probably is. I realize I'm like down here and
I was
Simi's gonna
like, fix
say
your screen. I wanted to interrupt.
Simi's gonna say, you're gonna be a floating head.
There you go. So what you're gonna
I
say is
forgot.
you had some high highs and then you had some low lows, and you were gonna make a connection between those two?
I was just about to make the connection. And perhaps it will come to me. But perhaps it won't.
All right, I'm just gonna go off of what you said then. So yeah, you had a freaking fantastic weekend. Ladies and gentlemen, she went to a concert. She still wore her headphones, sunglasses, and earplugs, noise canceling headphones, but she did it. Then she went kayaking in 2 days for 3 hours. Kayaking on water, unstable water. Water is kind of unstable. But anyway, kayaking. And then she did pottery, like never have done that before. And she did a pottery class. So those are all, I mean, really tough things when you have TBI and, vestibular and noise and new things, bright lights, working with your hands, coordination, all of that stuff. She did all of it within 3 days. So flawlessly, she did it. Maybe not flawlessly, but you did it. And you were okay. Like your setback happened, but it wasn't this huge drop. But you were in this high. You were able to do all these things. You figured out some new limitations for yourself, which I think is cool that you're in a place to now do that. Where before we couldn't really push ourselves because we were so low. But now our percentages are so much higher, we can test those waters. And so she had a little bit of a dip, but it's like she knew it was coming. So it's a little bit easier.
I remember what I was gonna say. Thank you for summarizing and explaining my life while I remembered what I was gonna say. You're so sweet. You're the freaking best. Get you a friend that will talk for you, okay? Okay, so first of all, I lasted at the concert for 1 hour, just to be clear. I was not at this concert all night. And you see why, after what Chaffin has explained of all the things I did, why I say the rational thinking person must have been being smothered by a pillow, because that was way too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, but at the time, like I couldn't see it.
At the time when we are in those high moments, it's like we forget we have a TBI. It doesn't matter how long we've lived with it. It's like we are in the zone. And then we're like, why are we hurting after we do so many things?
So my point, my finale point was, because I was able to do these like high functioning activities, even though I paid for it, the point is, like, it's showing me a glimpse, like the window is open, like I can see where I'm going, and I can see that I just need to like build up tolerance, ideally in like a responsible, methodical way. And the fact that my brain can function to be able to do certain things for any amount of time means it can do it all the time as soon as I build up the tolerance or whatever else I need to build up. But it's awesome.
It is awesome. It's nice to be at higher percentages. And again, we weren't always here, and we still have bad days. Oh my gosh. If you go back just a month or two, Celia went on a boat and I did some crappy stuff, and we were at some low percentages. I mean, we weren't super low, but we had some low moments where we did go into the, I mean, for me, it was like the teens, 18%. But it's really nice that, yeah, our new norm is higher. But again, it definitely is. It's like when we have those high moments, we overdo it. When we have those low moments, it kind of goes back to it, like it's all in perspective. Just the importance of realizing, okay, hey, I overdid it. But hey, I also learned some new limitations. And then Celia, you had that window of hope open. So I loved how you flipped that perspective. Instead of beating yourself up, it's like, I just did all that. Booyah. I don't know if people still say booyah, but I just said it. And then when we're in the low part of the week, we can reflect back on that big picture. So it's just really, it's like a coping mechanism is not the right word, but it's helpful in the sense that we can change our perspective and have more hope.
Very much so. And it's been like, what's the Miley Cyrus song? It's like, it's the climb.
It's the climb.
It's the climb. And so, yeah, anyone who feels like they're not really climbing, just know if you keep trying things, is if you feel very, very stuck, that's okay. Just kind of hold that hope and try to be open-minded and know that, like, I used to be very, very stuck, and it's like we keep plateauing, right? Like, but then we shift, and then it's like, oh, and then we plateau again. It's just like, that's kind of the way it goes. So, but there are people who've gotten better, and I think we're gonna be those people too.
I believe it. Also, shout out to Stacy Smith. I'm just throwing this in there. She is amazing. She is one of those people who had a horrible TBI, and we are huge fans of Stacy, and she's helping us in both of our journeys. And she has, I think, a November free session for anyone who wants to join in to like experience community around the TBI journey. But yeah, it's like people like her that remind me that there's hope. On my bad days, I just think of Stacy Smith.
Yeah, and she wrote a book, The Concussion Companion, and that's kind of her like name on social media, so you can look her up. And like back in the day when I was feeling really stuck, and there was a lot of brain fog, and I wasn't cognitively there. There was like a fog over my cognitive abilities and my executive functioning. And so I couldn't think of this very basic thing, but I'm going to tell you, all of the people that are listening, so you don't have to come up with it on your own, because you can't, or you don't, there's a cloud over your brain. Anyways, so whatever you're wanting to accomplish, search for someone who's already accomplished it and just see what's up, because they'll tell you the path to accomplishing it. And so I finally got to the point where I could put that information together. And now I have somebody, Stacy Smith is the person, who has gotten where I want to be, and is sharing how she got there. And it's like, oh wow, I don't have to figure this out on my freaking own. You know, there's other people out there. So, but with a head injury, like if you can't think straight, you're not going to come up with something seemingly so obvious, because you're just trying to freaking walk around and not run into the wall, or like,
Yep,
or lose your mind about trying to like take a shower. So,
yep. To add to that, though, I will say I was someone who overly researched people who were getting better, and it was helpful and hope bringing. But then I started doubting everything I was doing, because I was like, oh, I need to do this, or I need to do that, or I need to go to this concussion clinic, or I need to go to that clinic in Michigan, or whatever. And I'm an overachiever, so I will try anything to like do it all. And I had to shut that down because it wasn't serving me. So I remembered the names of the people who are doing great, you know, recovered from way worse TBIs than me. And I held that hope, but instead of trying to follow everything they were doing, I reminded myself I'm on my own journey, and I am moving forward at my pace. And also, who's got money to do all of those concussion clinics? Not me. So I was really thinking, okay, like what financially can I handle? What emotionally can I handle? Physically, what can I handle? What's best for me in the long run instead of the short run? So just saying, like, Stacy Smith and these other people are amazing heroes in my opinion, but you know yourself. And if you're someone like Celia who just needs the guidebook, like I highly recommend the Concussion Companion. If you're someone like me, I am reading the Concussion Companion, and it's so good. Oh my gosh, it's so good. But if I had read it last year, I may have gotten like maybe a little bit overwhelmed. I'm not very far into it, so I can't say much. But these other people's stories, when I was reading theirs, I did get overwhelmed because I went down that rabbit hole of I have to do everything by their story. So remember, you are your own person. You're on your own journey. You're on your own GPS track to the finish line.
Yeah, that's all makes a lot of sense. So I looked at Cameron Marshall's material over a year ago, and
it's backwards. Damn it.
There it is. And his material is a lot of similar stuff, quite a few similar things. I mean, he's referenced in the Concussion Companion. But because I was looking at his information when I was so unwell, I wasn't able to use the information because I mentally couldn't even make the steps needed. So there are things out there, and they're going to find you when you're ready, and you're healing when you're ready, and whenever you're ready is the perfect time, and that's okay. And like Chaffin mentioned, the GPS destination, we both have a destination that we have our eye on, and Chaffin and I both have very different paths that we've taken to get us to where we are here today. And likely, well, now that we're talking so much, no, we'll still have different paths to get to our destination. But the point is, there's any number of paths that will get you there. Whether your financial situation is whatever that is, you can get there, and you will get there in your own way, as long as you decide that you're going there.
Yeah, I love that. And I think you nailed it. I wasn't emotionally ready for any of those things. So if I had read Stacy's book, it could have been everything I needed, or those other people's stories. It literally could have been everything I needed. But I had to do some more internal work before I could receive it. That's a good point.
One of my favorite things about Stacy's book is that she actually describes her experience of life under the fog of the brain injury, and I just related to it so hard. I was like crying the whole time I was reading, like at least the first chapters. I was like, oh my gosh, like seeing the your story, like your personal story in somebody else's story that you haven't been able to put into words is just wild. I
Yeah.
don't even know.
I feel
But
so seen by the story. I feel so seen, so heard, and so not alone.